No, I listen to it all the time. I tell all my friends to smack it raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smackin Raw podcast, episode 208. I am your host, the Warden, Matt Ritter. I am back with my co-host, Daddy Delgado himself, Pornhub Poppy Vince. What's going on?
Daddy's home, Matt. Daddy is home 2 weeks in a row. Are you excited?
I am. Also brought along because he had the day off and because I know he's going to have some entertaining shit to say about SmackDown tonight from Young Kings Wrestling, host of the Havoc Hour. And also, it is Friday the 13th, and we just dropped a very special 4-hour episode on the Friday the 13th franchise that is in 2 parts on YouTube. Linktree/Wreak Havoc, right? Yes, Linktree/Wreak Havoc. You can go there, find that, listen to it. If you missed Friday the 13th, or you're still in the mood for the weekend, because it's not just a day thing, it's a whole weekend vibe. Go check that out. So to help me promote that, because that was a lot of fun, I brought on Reek, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yes, sir. What is up, fellas? It's good to be back on Pornhub.
You know what, Rick? This is nothing against you, man, because I love you. You know this. I brought you on the Straight Talk podcast. We did a joint podcast for Dragon Ball. I love you. You're like a brother to me. But I have a bone to pick with Matt, and I have a question for Matt. Matt,
Yeah.
Am I not enough for you? Am I not enough for you? I leave for 2 weeks. You bring in Katie and you bring in Travis. Then I come back. I'm thinking, oh, it's me and Matt. The band's back together, and you have to bring in Jizzy from Dead Ass Girls podcast. Which, again, nothing against Jizzy. I love Jizzy. Now I'm thinking, okay, well, you know what? This is the week me and Matt are gonna have some alone time together. And no, you bring in Reek. I'm like, what is going on? I thought we had a monogamous relationship here, Matt. I did not approve of us being polyamorous. I do not like this. I do not sharing. I'm very possessive. This is not time for
all day. You forget. You thought we forgot about gangbang.
That was from a past life, Reek. That was from a past life, from a time we shall not go back.
Listen here, baby. Let me tell you a little something about your relationship with Mr. Matt Ritter. You, sir, are not in a monogamous relationship. You are in an open relationship. Matt Ritter is allowed to bring in whoever he wants to this relationship of whatever sex. And if people want to come on the show, all they have to do is go speak to Mr. Matt Ritter, and he will make that shit happen, because that is what bosses do. And Mr. Matt Ritter is 100% a boss. If you do not like it, Vince, I do not know what to tell you. I am sorry that you were upset that you have to share this, but let's be honest. There's too much of me for you to go around. You can't handle all this by yourself. You need to share it around, Vince.
You know what, man? Growing up, I've always been a fan of leftovers, man. That's what I'm trying to have. I'm trying to have some leftovers week after week after week, man. And obviously, if I had to share with a guest every single week, there's not going to be any to go around.
Trust me, there is more than enough to go around. Everybody can see that. Everybody knows that. There is plenty to go around.
I don't know about all that, but okay.
If you want, Vince, I can put a little in a container and send it home with you when we are done.
As long as you send me something personally, that's all I care about, man. Because I feel excluded. I feel like I'm not valued here, and this is not what I signed up for. I feel like you wouldn't do this to Travis, and I feel like I deserve that same level of respect. That's what I mean. Feel.
I mean, I did it to Travis all the time, Vince. I don't understand what you were talking about.
Can you just agree with me here? Like,
No,
I don't have
no,
to
I-
make sense. I don't have to make sense. You know, I'm not trying to cut a John Cena Roman Reigns promo. I'm just trying to like air my grievances out here.
Not only
okay?
is this an open relationship, this is an honest relationship, and I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you're right when you're not right. That's not how this works out.
You know what? That's the basis of a functioning relationship, is to lie to your partner and make sure that they're comfort. Am I right, Wraith? You have to lie to keep the happiness alive, man. That's how you keep a happy relationship, man. But you know what?
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Everyone on the Zoom call that's married, raise your hand. So if anyone's going to hand out relationship advice on how to have a successful relationship, I think it should be the person with their hand raised.
This is like from hot to cold. I've been single for 2 years. This man's dating. So, I mean,
I'm
on
just
the
saying.
spectrum of who's giving advice, I'm the last person.
Damn it! Someone agree with me. Someone agree with me. I feel like
maybe one of the listeners will agree with you. Now, to address your issues, as I said previously, Wreak Havoc is here because him and I did a collaboration for a Friday 13th podcast that dropped today, and I thought, hey, he's not working, he's free. It'd be really cool to have him on because of that awesome thing we did to promote that awesome thing and talk some wrestling. As far as Jizzy goes, Jizzy hit me up and said, hey, do y'all have room for me tonight since she missed the 200th episode? And I was like, we always have room for the dead ass girls. Now, Vince, I don't want to have to, like, I just want there to be room for the dead ass girls. I don't want to have to make room for the dead ass girls, if you get what I'm saying. So either you get on board my train, choo choo, or we have to leave you at the station, but this train's rolling regardless.
I am just throwing a fit, Matt. Let me throw a fit.
I can punch your ticket, or I can leave you in the stall, whatever you want to do.
Live up to your gimmick, sir. Live up to your gimmick.
Gang bang all day. That's not a two-person project.
That's from a past life. That's a former gimmick. It is
just saying.
I will say, I also have this one bone to pick with Mr. Matt Ritter.
Sure. Let's pick all the bones at Matt.
The shaving of the beard.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not appreciative. You look like you are an upstanding member of society. Matt Ritter right now looks like he obeys every speed limit in the city of Chicago. Every single one of them. I don't appreciate that. I don't
know. You know what, Rick? I feel like shaving is just a thing recently in like the wrestling community. You saw Braun Strowman shave. There was that picture of Bray Wyatt surfacing that he had clean shaven, whether it's real or not. Matt felt like in the shaven mood. So
Otis shaved. I mean, it's just big guy shaving season, motherfucker.
Yeah. And you know it's hot out. You know they're already kind of big. You know they got to cut the heat somewhere. You know the beard is the one way to go ahead and get that. I wouldn't know. I have a gut, but you know, unfortunately, I'm not blessed with facial hair. So
here's the thing: seeing as you've grown no facial hair since I've known you, Reek, and I don't think you can, and Vince has grown the minimum amount of facial hair that is required to be considered facial hair.
Just enough.
Again, not thinking you two are the people to be giving out facial hair grooming advice. To be fair,
I'll say this. I don't know if it's like making a comeback, but it's something started sprouting. You won't be able to see it from here, but it's like a little bit at a time.
Yeah, no. When I was 13, I had the same thing going on. I understand. Like I remember.
Beard oils, beard oils, and shape the clean skin. To
address the lack thereof of the glorious beard that I rocked. A couple things happened. One, about a year ago, it'll be a year, September 4th, I had a baby, and that baby really, really liked grabbing and yanking on that fucking beard, and it fucking hurt. And as she gets older and stronger, it hurts more. And she used to get like right up under here with the skin. And yeah, so I was like, I need to trim this thing down. Now, unfortunately, I trimmed the sides a little too short and it didn't look right. So the rest of it had to go and I had to start fresh. That was on me.
You can rock a Tyson Tomko. That's fine.
There.
I would have been okay with a Tyson Tomko.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife wasn't. And unfortunately, Vince, you refused to suck my dick. So I'm going to stick with the woman that pleasures me and what she would like me to do with my facial hair.
Fair enough. That's
again, if you want to get aboard that train, Vince, we can ride. But until then,
man, it's coming back to that train, isn't it?
We're running trains all day on the Smackin' Raw podcast.
Apparently.
That is appropriate.
Oh man.
Let's get into news and rumors now that we've addressed both of your issues, and I hope everyone is satisfied and happy with their answers.
I am not, but that's neither here nor there.
Speaking of children, congratulations to Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae on the announcement of baby Gargano. Now they actually have someone outside of Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell to worry about and take care of and raise. And if we can see the fantastic job that they've done with those two, I'm sure this baby's going to turn out great.
I found it funny that they were so worried about Indy getting it in, when meanwhile they was clearly bumping heads back at the house this whole time. Like,
you know what? In the middle of a pandemic, there's nothing else to do but to smash. You know, like if you're locked up in the house, you know, you're bored, you can only binge watch the same series over and over again. Got nothing better to do than to smash.
Listen, both of you, once you get married, if you ever get married, Reek, and Vince, I'm assuming some point you'll get married and have about 13 kids. When that happens, 2, we'll see. More than likely, you will understand that while you are still getting it in, you're not going to want someone getting it in with your kids.
Fair.
That is true.
Once you become the person who's got the kid that someone's trying to get it in with, you no longer are okay with that whole idea. When you're the dude that's trying to get it in with someone's kid, you don't think about that shit. Things change. You grow up.
Fair enough.
You can still get it in, but you ain't going to want someone getting it in with your offspring.
Fair points. Very fair points. However,
anyway,
I think my point still stands that there's nothing better to do than to smash during the lockdown. So,
I agree. I had my baby pre-COVID, so that happened pre-lockdown. But
so 9 months from now, we'll have a second baby Ritter.
No, you will not.
No smacking it raw during the pandemic. What?
Oh, I'm smacking it raw, all right. Smacking it raw safely to myself during the pandemic.
That's not living the gimmick to its fullest potential. But
believe me, I'm still getting it in, but I'm not getting it in with another kid for at least another year or two. We want to space those out.
Fair.
Since you're here, our resident Sasha Stan, a lot of backlash, which is fucking funny because Sasha said that all of her matches are 5-star matches.
It was hilarious.
Motherfuckers are like comparing her to Hiroshima Tamagotchi or whoever the fuck it is over there in New Japan.
Tanahashi.
Yeah, Tamagotchi.
Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okay.
Hiroshima Tamagotchi. That's what I said.
He said Tamagotchi. I'm done with this man.
You're gonna send Savannah into overdrive when she hears this shit.
If she hears
That's the plan.
We don't have proof that she listens to the show on a weekly basis.
Very true. That is a big ass spider. Anyway, I just thought it was funny that people don't realize A, Sasha's a heel and that's her gimmick, and B, like, so what if she's like, every wrestler should think all of their matches are 5-star matches. Like, the fuck.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was hilarious. I liked that shit. I shared it. I thought it was fantastic. I died when I saw this. I didn't see anybody giving any backlash towards Sasha for saying it, but it's like, that was the whole point. Everyone was talking about Sasha, whether you agreed with her or disagreed with her. Her name was being spoken in the IWC, which was the fucking intended goal because she just came back. She's one of the hotter things on SmackDown aside from Roman Reigns and John Cena.
So, like, here, go ahead, Breek.
This is what makes Sasha great in the first place. You just sit back and you enjoy it. When you start complaining, we start criticizing, you're ruining it. Just sit back, enjoy it, and let it be. Simple.
Well, this is the weird thing about the state of the wrestling world that we live in, right? So we've talked about this before. Sasha Banks is a heel. When Sasha Banks is on Twitter, people, for whatever reason, feel like Mercedes is tweeting, not Sasha. about the Sasha character, or people like us look at her getting the result that she intended, which is people being outraged at what she said because she's a heel, and then we make fun of those people for having the desire to like, we are in the weirdest state in wrestling where, like, when people react the way they're supposed to, because we know that that's the way they're supposed to react, we give them shit for reacting that way because we think that they're I don't know, taking it like it's real or whatever. But at the same time, we're also acknowledging that, yeah, that's her gimmick. That's the way you're supposed to act. So we really shouldn't be giving people shit for acting that way because that's how she intended them to act. But also, like, it's just everything is so fucking weird now because we know so much about the wrestling business. And dude,
also too, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because when she starts tweeting as Mercedes the person, like something like wholesome, like sharing like an experience with a fan or something, then you have those same people bitching about her thinking she's the greatest of all time, like praising herself, saying, "Oh, you're breaking kayfabe. This is why kayfabe isn't alive." It's like you can't win with these people. That's why I just kind of like laughed them off. Like, I honestly don't personally care what anyone thinks about Sasha Banks. She's my favorite wrestler, regardless of the fact whether Matt thinks she's good, whether Rick thinks she's terrible. Like, I'm still gonna have my opinions about her. It's not gonna change. And I thought it was fantastic what she did on Twitter and that in that whole interview. I think she's doing great work, and she looked fantastic on SmackDown. By the way, she's, dear Lord Jesus Christ.
We'll get into that. Next up, our boy Keith Lee let us in on why he missed so much time.
Wow.
Apparently, it was some possible heart complications and inflammation in the heart due to COVID. Well, it's complications from COVID, which led to some inflammation in his heart. Could have been very, very serious, could have been life-threatening. Thankfully, he got over it. He said he wasn't even sure he was going to be at Dallas to make that return. So we're all just very, very happy that Keith is okay, that Keith is healthy, that he is feeling better, and that he is back, and that nothing happened to him in his time off. And also, fuck everyone that blamed Mia Yim for him getting COVID.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid, man. And it turns out that she contracted COVID because she chose to put a pause on her career to take care of her partner and then was out of the Rumble, when in reality it was the other way around. Like, that's why when those things came out, I'm like, that's a terrible thing to say. Like, I don't care how much of a fan you are of a wrestler, but to blame their significant other for giving, even if it was true that Mia Yim got COVID and gave it to Keith Lee, you would imagine, Matt, obviously you're the husband, the only married man in this fucking podcast right now. You wouldn't care if you contracted COVID as long as you took care of your partner, because that's what the whole thing is about.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't get it.
The whole, even when it happened, when people started blaming her, that's just complete ignorance, because it's like, you don't know what's going on. And this honestly was one of the things like I was worried about, because it's like the more cryptic the tweets got, the more secretive everything was. It's like, in fairness, like, you keeping your stuff private, that's fine. You know, my thing is like the growing concern was there. So it's like, this has to be something crazy. But it's like, when I heard it, I'm like, Jesus, that is insane right there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I've said it from day one. It's like, I don't know where people get like this switch that they just want to get overly critical and start jumping to conclusions about what's going on. It's like, just hope the best for whatever's going on and shut up about the rest of this shit. Because it's like, if they even knew half of this going into it, it's like, now how stupid do y'all look for all of this?
Very true.
Thankfully, he's good. So, yeah.
And last but not least, Vince gets his eyes right. Triple H, much like in 1996 after the curtain call, is taking the fall and the blame for NXT supposedly losing the Wednesday Night Wars. There are a lot of rumors going around about what changes are being made in NXT, what's happening with NXT, how it's going to be turned back into a developmental brand. It's going to focus on younger talent and not older talent, and the guys that Triple H has been kind of going to bat for, this and that, blah, blah, blah. That is all speculation. That is all something we will see when and if it does happen. But rumor is that Triple H is the one taking the heat and taking the blame for the lack of success on NXT on Wednesday nights going up against Dynamite.
Well, see, this is what really confuses me, because aren't we a week removed from Vince saying that AEW is not competition, just basically dismissing them as any potential competition or a threat to them? So a week after that conference call, now Triple H is on, taking shit because of what NXT is not doing in comparison to AEW. So it's like, which one is it? Like, are you just talking tough for your conference call, or like, what's the real issue here? What are you really getting at?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Vince.
Not to defend other Vinces, but to play devil's advocate, if I'm getting the mind of this maniac, it would be AEW is not competition to WWE, which is Raw and SmackDown. They might have been competition to NXT. That's our developmental. That's our like G League, if to put it for like the NBA terms out there. Because because NXT was always supposed to be that developmental brand, and obviously it changed from that. And I don't know. Like, maybe like there are times where we've seen it in Vince McMahon's history. At one point, he's hot or is behind a certain superstar or act, and then all of a sudden he just gets bored. And I'm pretty sure, like, what was it, like 2019, like fall of 2019 during Survivor Series, when they were pushing NXT heavy as a third brand, when it filled their agenda, their narrative they're trying to tell. Yeah, NXT was the third brand, but other than that, it was treated like the third, like the ugly stepchild. Like, you saw that with the women's tag titles. That was supposed to be defended over 3 different brands, and it was never on NXT until Sasha and Bayley decided to show up on NXT.
It hasn't been back since either. And
no.
The thing too is, like, no one ever asked them to make it a third brand. Like, if it was developmental, it's developmental. It's great fucking TV. We're gonna watch it regardless, whether it was 1 hour, whether it was 2 hours. It's like, again, they got to make up their mind about what it is they want this to be, and how they view it in the grand scheme of things. Because if you're going to keep changing, what it is you want this to be presented as, and what it's going to be to the people and stuff like that, it's like you're convoluting the message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people were invested in it regardless. So it's like, again, if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it.
And I will say this, that there were small little things that were being changed about NXT as AEW was coming onto board that I feel like changed NXT for the worse. And there were slow issues. COVID happened, AEW happened, the change to 2 hours. NXT constantly not knowing if they can push their champion for longer than a few months, because then they'll get called up to Raw or SmackDown. Is always an issue with NXT. That's why NXT as like a solid third brand was never going to fully work, because it was still going to always be like they're going to lose their talent. And that's why they were hoarding so much talent, because they were under the impression, oh, they're going to get called up. We got to have a backup in case this guy gets called up. But then all the slots on main roster got filled up, and there was nothing to do with anybody. So I think my big issue with this whole NXT stuff was the disconnect between NXT and main roster, because apparently there were reports coming out that not only is Triple H in the doghouse is being like the scapegoat for this whole NXT shit for losing the Wednesday Night War, but also he was not informed that the NXT of all the NXT releases last week. He was finding them out as we were, unfortunately. It's like no one went to Triple H. Like, it's looking like he's having less and less control of NXT as the time's going on, which is unfortunate.
It's bad.
And you know what? We heard a little bit of that, I think, earlier this year, late last year, where Vince was going to get more hands-on with NXT. Nobody really believed it. It looks like it was true. My thoughts are, one, Vince. So Vince
not me. The other Vince.
Vince McMahon used NXT when it was convenient for him. When superstars are stuck in Saudi and he needed to do something, he took chicken shit and made chicken salad. That's what Vince can do on occasion. he's like, all right, we push this. The fans seem to like it. We'll run with it. We'll let it be a thing. But Vince has never valued NXT, because if Vince had ever valued NXT as anything more than just FCW or Ohio Valley Wrestling, he wouldn't change and fuck with the gimmicks that are created in NXT as they're called up, and the way that these characters are booked and used the way he does. We would not have seen, the change in Shayna Baszler, or the change in Aleister Black, or the change in countless tag teams that got called up and broken up and fucked with, and all of the stuff made in Vince's image. So Vince never really looked at NXT as a viable third brand or competition. And if he ever did, he may have purposely smashed it, because that's what Vince does. Vince doesn't like competition, especially among his own shit. So if he has the power to crush it, he's going to crush it. That's what he fucking does. That's why ECW was such a fucking joke when they brought it back. Once he saw how much everyone loved One Night Stand, he was like, all right, yeah, no, fuck that. And he tried to make it go away and make people stop chanting ECW. Well, that's why Sting and Goldberg and Big Papa Pump and every fucking wrestler that came from East or WCW, Booker T, got their ass whooped by Triple H, because Triple H was Vince's boy and Triple H was WWF, and everyone had to get beat down by WWF to prove that they weren't the competition, that they weren't what everyone thought they were. And then maybe guys like Booker T might get built back up in Vince's image under his brand, the way he wants them. But they got to get beat down first. They got to take major losses. Unfortunately for guys like Booker T and Sting, it was at WrestleMania when they probably should have won, which was bullshit. But that's what Vince does.
I feel like we can really dive in there and like just unpack and just have a whole podcast on that.
And we're not going to do that because we still got 5 shows to cover.
Yeah, so. Exactly. That's what I was trying to get at.
Reek, I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna go to Vince, since Vince is all hurt that you're here and taking.
No. You give him the full guest privileges.
He's not really a guest now, though. He's basically like a fucking surrogate co-host. Like, he's an honorary Smackin' a Raw family member, kind of like you were before you officially got your job.
I'm still waiting for my compensation, but anyway.
So am I, and I've been doing this for 4 years, so keep waiting. Yeah, Reek, where you want to start? Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, or Rampage?
Let's go Dynamite, because I only saw a little bit of it.
All right, AEW Dynamite. We kick it off with an MJF promo on Wardlow versus Jericho, basically saying that there's no way Wardlow's going to lose tonight. MJF also takes a shot at Wardlow when he says that he's going to win. He's like, yeah, like you did against Jericho in the cage. Don't mess it up tonight. Then we got a 6-man tag, Elite versus the Seidel brothers and Dante Martin. Let me just say, Dante Martin shined like a motherfucker in this match. The Elite get the win, though, but Dante had a great showing, looked fantastic. At the end, Christian interrupts Don Callis's promo in the ring. They're like, hey, maybe you can't count, which apparently was a thing with Don Callis, because Don Callis couldn't count when he got on commentary, and he also couldn't count when he got in the ring. But he said Christian couldn't count. He's like, there's all of us and just you. So Jurassic Express is back, comes out as backup. And then Christian informed them, bitch, I got 2 matches. I got you at All Out for the title, and I got you on Rampage for the Impact title. So suck it. They were all pissed off about it. And then Jurassic Express says, oh, yeah, Young Bucks, by the way, next week on Dynamite, we got you for the tag titles, too. Because we talked to Tony. So there is going to definitely be some inner turmoil between Tony and the Elite. We only got a Malachi Black promo, which is why they did not break 1 million this week. Darby Allin defeats Danny Garcia. I'm surprised The Rock's ex-wife is wrestling, but hey, teach their own. And then Sting beats up Never Rise after the match. Pac wants Andrade by himself first. OC, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta lose to Private Party and Matt Hardy. And then the Hardy Family Office, which is the dumbest fucking faction in the world because it's all fucking tag teams, stands tall at the end. Andrade accepts the challenge from Pac for All Out. So we're getting Andrade versus Pac at All Out. All Out is looking to be a stacked fucking card.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla Rose loses to what is slowly becoming my favorite female wrestler over in AEW, and Chris Statlander. I don't know what it is about her since she came back, but it's working for me. Then we got a Brit promo about her and Red Velvet in the main event. Red Velvet attacks. The Dark Order lose to the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team titles because they're the Dark Order. For whatever fucking reason, we got QT Marshall back on TV. I thought this was done and over with, but that apple-eating fuck is back. And he's not out there to give an apology. He wants an apology. The Factory beat up Tony Schiavone's son in front of Tony. And then, well, it's Paul White. He's not having it. He comes down. Everyone runs except for Aaron Solo, who takes a showstopper, choke slam, whatever the fuck they're calling it. Gets choke slammed by Solo or by Paul White, which is funny because he was also Paul White when he showed up in WWE. That's what they called him before he got the name Big Show.
Mm-hmm.
At St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1998 in the cage when he came up through the ground, brother. Wardlow loses to Jericho. For whatever reason, everyone thought we were getting MJ Ref, and we did not get MJ Ref. We got MJF outside the ring. So basically, I went back and listened to the promo. He said that someone was going to be out there to make sure it's called fair and square, but he never actually said he was going to be special guest referee. So I guess he was just saying he was going to be ringside to make sure nothing happened. So
they got enough special guest referee, which is what my big pet peeve about this whole match. And I just, at that point, I didn't care. Once I decided it wasn't MJF as the ref, you know what? Never mind. I'm disrupting the flow.
That's your spit. We'll get there. Next week, Jericho gets no Judas anything, no theme music, no Judas effect, anything that has to do with Judas banned from the match, because that is a very compelling stipulation for your final blow off match. Good job there. I mean, also I think he has to retire if he loses, but that's kind of the stip, but not really. What are we swallowing from AEW Dynamite?
So right off the bat, I'm swallowing that Christian promo because, and we're going to get into this when we get to Rampage, but there is a story here in the last year being told with Christian that I just fucking love. And it started early on with that promo on Dynamite, carries on through the end of the week, like beautiful shit. I'm also going to swallow the MJF promo at the end, mainly because the dude has such conviction that even when you're telling us these shitty stipulations, I'm really into it because it's like you just lean in and you really like just this guy really just soaks in that heat that he brings. Like he just like that. He just goes for that heel heat in the biggest way possible. It's like he believes in what he's doing, and that's all you really need in a good heel. Also, Chris Statlander, because I wasn't really much of like I wasn't really into the character initially, but it's like now I'm kind of coming around to her a little bit more.
I don't know what it is about her since she came back. I said it. I know your co-host TC was all talking shit about her. Whatever, TC. From now on, TC, no Chris Statlander slander on my podcast. TC, handcuff you too, motherfucker.
You can do that. You can do that.
Yeah.
If he's allowed back on the show.
He's allowed back on the show. I'm with you. We also had that awesome spot in that match where Chris got hung up on the ropes, dropped down to do a handstand, and Nyla speared the shit out of her out of a handstand, which was awesome. Christian's promo was fantastic. It's only going to get better when we talk about Rampage. And then I'm not quite with you on the MJF stuff, but the announcement of Andrade versus Pac, I'm super fucking excited about that.
That too.
All about that. And I also just want to give a little shout out to our boy Dante Martin, who showed his ass in that 6-man tag. He definitely made that match and was the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give him that as well. Vince, you swallowing anything?
I agree with Reek with like the whole Christian stuff, like the Chris Statlander match. I'm behind Chris Statlander. I knew of her before she signed with AEW, so that's seeing her on the stage, the bigger stage, is very nice to see.
It's because she dyed her hair brown. Something about her being a brunette just works for me.
I don't know. I think she was a brunette before she went blonde, so I think that's her natural hair color.
Listen, if I did not watch it, it didn't happen, and it doesn't matter.
Okay, but
Kind of like your Hiroshima Tamagotchi. Like, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. I didn't watch him. Doesn't matter.
I also want to agree with you, Matt, about swallowing the whole Pac Andrade whole story. That one story there is what I'm most intrigued about, because I gotta believe that the Lucha Bros are gonna turn their back on Pac and join Andrade. I feel like that's just perfect. And I could be wrong. Death Triangle could be a thing that stays going in AEW, but man, I feel like if you put Lucha Bros with Andrade and you have Chavo, maybe you add some more to it. Man, you got something there. You got the makings of a top faction over there on AEW.
What's triangle in Spanish?
Triángulo de la Muerte.
Yeah. Isn't that what they were calling themselves for a little bit originally? And then they changed it because Pac's like, no, I'm too white for that shit.
No, I think it's just like it's still their name. It's Triángulo de la Muerte. But to translate it to people that refuse to learn it in Spanish, they're Death Triangle.
It's kind of like what a red card is. I have no idea. Anyway.
Oh man, the face of Latinos becomes the body of Latinos. We'll get a Latino Voltron. The whole squad.
Missing a few pieces though.
A Latino Voltron. I'm just happy they're doing something with the Lucha Bros, because it feels like they came into AEW hot and then stalled hard with COVID.
Yeah, I think they stalled in general. Like, they didn't know what they wanted to do with Lucha Bros, push them as a heel. Like, because at first they were a heel, then they got paired up with Death Triangle, then they were heels. Then there was that weird phase where Pac was like a tweener, Penta was a heel, but Phoenix was a face, and it was weird. It was weird. I'm just glad they actually have a story.
I maintain that they could have gotten that spark back if they would have given Penta a solid singles run, even for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit, give him a solid singles run. You get that fire generated back up. So when they got back together, they would have just like go back at it.
Because one of the things that got him hot was the singles run in Impact. He was the Impact World Champion.
Let's also not forget that while Pac was gone due to quarantine and COVID and shit, they were part of like Eddie Kingston's family, and that didn't go so well.
I don't even like thinking about that. That looks so but I feel terrible that we allowed that to happen, because it never looked right to me. I couldn't get into it.
What are we spitting from Dynamite?
Go ahead, Rick.
I am feverishly projectile spitting QT Marshall, because every time I see him on my TV screen, I want to break it. Like, I don't want to see you and your fake ass Sopranos t-shirts anymore. I don't want to see them. Like, just get it all off my TV at any point in time.
I'm with you there, Rick. I'm spitting that. I'm spitting all things QT Marshall. If QT Marshall's on the screen, he's getting spat. I also want to spit the why am I trying to blank on their fucking called? But like the fucking Labors of Jericho, they fizzled out. They started off interesting, but after the Nick Gage death match, it went downhill. Like,
whoa. I will not have you sit here as a Latino and insult the Juice, Juventud Guerrera, being brought in to face Chris Jericho in a rematch from one of the most famous feuds in WCW Cruiserweight history in 1996, and a callback to a MJF Jericho story from like a year or two ago, which was fantastic.
They should have changed. They should have changed the order of the. No. You agreed with me.
Fuck what
you agreed with me last week. That you said it should have been rearranged.
I did, but not the Juice. There is no way you put Juventud Guerrera above fucking Meth Head Jesus. You don't do it. No.
And you don't put Meth Head Jesus in there. Because like I love Hoovy. But in that match, he didn't deliver for me. He didn't do it for me. He wasn't juicy enough for me on Dynamite last week.
Oh, I can't. I'm
They're
flipping
both-
this and sending it to Travis.
And you know what? And you know what? I'll take it one step further and disrespect the man just a little bit more. He was the worst member of the Mexicals. He was the worst
You're
member
going
of the
too
Mexicals.
far.
You've
You're
gone
going too
way
far.
too far.
I go super
Whoa.
crazy,
Whoa.
psychosis, then Juventud Guerrera. Why was he was let go? He was the first Mexico to go.
You're so disrespectful right now. Oh my God. Don't let him back in the rest of the show. Don't let him back in the rest of the show. That is goddamn disrespectful.
I can't believe I just like this is gonna be the new Sheamus mid at best, is what he just fucking said about Hoovy
what?
being the worst member of the Mexicals. Like Sheamus, that's done. That's over with. We are not talking about you talking about Sheamus ever again. All we are going to talk about now is how this man came on my podcast and said that Hoovy, it's not our podcast right now. Not when you say Hoovy's the worst member of the Mexicals. My podcast. Oh, no.
Hoovy was a cruiserweight champion. Like, what? What? The worst? Sir. Oh my God. Oh man.
I almost want to call Travis and bring him on the call just to like fuck the rest of the show. I just want to call Travis on and have him record him ripping into you for the rest of the show. Like that's where I'm at right now.
I need it. If only. Because it's like I get it. It wasn't like what we were hoping for or expecting. Listen, these guys are pushing middle age. All right, we're not gonna get the
They're past middle age.
Yeah, exactly.
They're over the hill.
We're not gonna get 2 decades ago, Jericho and Hoovy. But
then
for
don't
what
do
it was,
Don't do it.
For what it was, I could enjoy it. But
I didn't.
You just went way off.
Bro,
track.
look. I'm
rails.
sorry. Look. Okay. I'm gonna take a step back, but I'm gonna stand on this and I'm probably gonna die on it. But Kofi didn't look that good in his match last week. And honestly, I don't care about this match against Wardlow. Like, why is this the fourth labor? They're supposed to get tougher and more grueling as they go along. I just don't like it. The concept
that I agree with. I agree 100% with Wardlow, especially if MJF is not the special guest referee, which he was not being the last labor.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have made Wardlow the first labor. And then you could have gone to the chairs match. Then you could have done Nick Gage. Then you could have done Hoovy as a special bring in whatever, blah, 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 make Jericho do a top rope move. But I will not concede that you ever put that New Jersey trailer park Jesus.
Look. Okay, I didn't. I guess I didn't clarify. I'm not saying Nick Gage is better than Hoovy. Nick Gage is not even like 1% good of what Hoovy is. Let me get that straight right now. I am not a Nick Gage fan whatsoever. I'm saying the quality of the match. You're trying to say you're going to go from a death match to next stipulation is a singles match, but you can only win with a top rope move. Like that's like some 2K, like some My Career 2K bullshit. It's dumb. That's what I don't.
It wasn't technically a death match though. It was literally just a no DQ match. And Nick Gage,
okay, but even still,
crazy methed out fucking motherfucker who stabs people with light tubes and shit. Like,
okay, but even still, you have to agree with me that if you're looking at stipulations alone, take away the names of the opponents and stipulations alone, the DQ match should be after the top rope finishing.
I disagree because if you're looking at the participants, you are taking a damn near 60-year-old man and saying, "Here's a match where you can use weapons to beat some guy up that nobody really knows." Or here is one of the most well-known cruiserweight wrestlers in fucking history.
Did they get Rey Mysterio last week? Did I miss that?
I said one of. I didn't say the.
Was not Parka over there? Was Jushin
of.
Thunder Liger over there? Was Psychosis over there? Was Super Crazy over there? Wait, don't they have Penta? Don't they have...
I'm not done. One of the greatest cruiserweights in history. In Juventud Guerrera, and Jericho has to take his old ass. Jericho has to take his old ass and hit a top rope move at damn near 60 to win the match when he doesn't have any top rope offense.
Exactly.
The opponent was bigger. The stipulation was based off of his age and his ability and what MJF could think he could do. We are done with the subject. I'm going to unmute you. We are moving along. There will be no more discussion of Juventud Guerrera, his place in the Mexicools on the card, or anything else. We are either going to finish spitting AEW and move on. No more talk about that. We're done.
Oh God.
I'm wearing this to.
Yeah, no, you're wearing a hat. We
Yeah,
understand.
Oh.
I'm gargling AEW altogether. Not enough good there.
Yeah, I mean, if the main event was better, if MJF was special guest referee and they had figured a way to like work around something happening to MJF where somebody else counts a 3 count and he's pissed off because he got screwed over what he thought was going to end it, like then I might have swallowed this, but I feel like they kind of botched whatever they were doing with the main event and they misled everyone the week before into what the main event was going to be. So
yeah.
I'll swallow. Gargle.
Also, Malachi Black only had like a promo, like a best. Like
he wasn't on the show, and that's why they didn't break 1 million this week.
Exactly. So I can't swallow.
Only broken 1 million with Malachi Black on the fucking show. AEW. To be clear, you break 1 million when this man is on the show, regardless of whether TC said this man was a draw or not, which he said he wasn't. Fact of the matter is, TC said Malachi Black is not a draw when they signed Malachi Black. He said he isn't. He said he isn't going to move the needle. He isn't a draw. It doesn't matter. That man is the only reason you guys have broke 1 million. I am saying it right now. If you want to keep breaking 1 million, you put him on your TV.
Fact.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Where are we moving to next, Reek? Jesus fucking Christ. Vince?
Should we just go to Rampage?
Yeah, let's just go to Rampage.
Since I'm on a rampage right now about my slander. Woo!
Christian Cage in our opening match defeats Kenny Omega to become your new Impact champion. Also, we have Miro defeating Fuego del Sol to retain the TNT championship. And if Fuego del Sol had won this match, he was supposed to get a contract. Miro ripped that contract up, but his best friend Sammy Guevara went and talked to Tony like everyone does and got this man a contract anyway, came down and presented him with the contract. It honestly seemed like Fuego didn't know that was going to happen. And we got a genuine moment of him crying in the ring, being presented with his AEW contract. So that was cool. Sting was up in the rafters with Newly Redacted, since we're going to keep the same energy for everyone. And then in our main event, Britt Baker defeated Red Velvet for the AEW Women's Championship in what some might describe as a very Southern Pride-esque ring gear on Red Velvet. It reminded me of a flag. That's all I'm going to say.
Hopefully it wasn't by design. Hopefully it was just like one of those mistakes that you don't realize.
Oh no, I feel it was very much by design.
But if it was by design, she was tagging with Cody, don't want to surprise me,
Matt heard my theory on how that happened already.
Statlander comes down to attack Britt as Britt is trying to stomp Red Velvet onto the title. And then out of nowhere, apparently people thought that this might have been Becky Lynch. I did not see Becky Lynch. I just didn't know who the fuck it was. Jamie Hayter is back. Looks nothing like Jamie Hayter. I would not, if they hadn't said it was Jamie Hayter, I would not have known that was Jamie Hayter. But she's back. She is Britt's backup. It was not the Iconics. And she takes out Chris Statlander, and then Velvet gets curb stomped on the title. There is something about. No, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. We'll go there after the podcast. Remind me. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Fair.
I'm swallowing all of Rampage. I enjoyed all of it. Britt looked great in fucking Britsburg. They had a fun match. Miro destroyed Fuego del Sol. His booking's been fantastic. And then that Kenny Christian match was probably the best match Kenny's had on Dynamite or on AEW so far. And even though I'm not happy that Christian Cage is the Impact champion, because I'd like to see someone from Impact come and get that fucking belt, just like I want to see someone from AAA get the AAA title, and I want someone from New Japan, if it really exists, to come get the IWGP US title. Like maybe Tamagotchi, send Tamagotchi over here to go get it. Like that'd be cool.
Funny enough, I think Tanahashi is lined up to get a US title shot against Mox, and it might be at All Out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you might get your wish, Matt. I'm with you. I'm swallowing the whole show because it just kind of breezed through. It made me feel like what NXT was back in the day before it went to USA when it was on the network.
1 hour, just the hits, 3 title matches, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you skip foreplay and just go straight into it. You're in, you're out, you get satisfied, and then you're done. You're back on the couch playing video games.
You never skip foreplay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you skip foreplay, man. Sometimes
I don't.
I mean, in the heat of the moment, it is sometimes permissible to skip foreplay, but it's never like I don't feel like doing foreplay today. I'm not.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. That's like saying like when you go in there and you just in the moment you just skip foreplay. Everything's like just hot. It's right.
See, this would be a scenario for Matt. Like if the kids are watching TV, you know what I'm saying? You only got like a couple minutes while they're distracted to sneak away to like the laundry room or some shit. That's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Quickie.
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, Britt was fantastic in Britsburg. Red Velvet felt like a star when she was coming out making her entrance. She was booed out the fucking building, which I thought was great. Christian versus Kenny Omega was, like you said, Matt, one of Kenny's better matches since he's joined AEW. I'm happy that Christian's an Impact champion because he's a former NWA champion, which used to be the world title for TNA, aka Impact Wrestling. And I like it because I would love to see Christian back in the Impact Zone. I think that would be a perfect callback because he's a former alumni of TNA / Impact. So I'm all for it. I think it'll be fine. He's a big enough name and it'll get some numbers onto Impact. And now you don't have to see Kenny just go in there and just like beat up talent after talent. And I know Christian, he's going to put someone over, maybe Moose. Maybe this is how you get the title onto Moose, is him beating Christian, which would be great. I don't know. I just thought Rampage was great.
I'm all for that. Yeah, I'm definitely swallowing the whole show. Like I struggled to get through the entire AEW shows, and I was all into this like thing. And I was in between this and watching the fights tonight. So, but I was still like into it. And like I caught the Kenny match like about halfway in, so I got to watch the whole thing. But it was dope as fuck. And like that, like I was saying before, this story with Christian is beautiful because this time a year ago, we weren't even having a discussion about this man wrestling. And then not only did he come back to wrestle, he shows up at the Rumble as a surprise entrant, but he goes to AEW at 47 years old, signs on full time, and now has his, I guess this is his third TNA championship technically.
It's second, his second world title in Impact / TNA.
Yeah, like that's and mainly because I actually didn't think they were gonna pull the trigger. Like I
didn't either.
They were gonna make us suffer through more of this belt collector bullshit.
See, here's the thing. I thought the opposite going into this match when he announced on Dynamite that he was gonna have the Impact title match on Rampage. I'm like, and that's gonna kick off the show. That's like, oh, they're gonna put the Impact World Title on Christian Cage to make you put some doubt as to whether or not Kenny's gonna retain that All Out. Whether we don't fully believe that Christian Cage is going to take the title off of Kenny, but in the logic, it's like he's already beat him for one world title. That's the story narrative. That's the beat they're trying to hit leading up into All Out. It's like, I've already beat you for a title. I'll do it again. And it's perfect. That's how you slowly take the titles away from Kenny Omega. And if you sit there and think about it, Triple Mania is Saturday, tomorrow as the recording of this podcast, and he's going to be challenging Andrade, and I wouldn't be surprised if Andrade takes the AAA world title from him, and now all he has leading up to All Out is just
a mega championship.
You know what I was talking about, man.
I want to be clear. If if we're gonna be respectful of other promotions, we need to call their belts by proper names.
But you out here calling you out here. Let's move on. Moving on. I'm swallowing Rampage.
I'm swallowing Rampage as well. I personally thought that Christian was going to lose here, but looked like he was going to beat Kenny or have Kenny beat and get screwed over. So that way there was more of a chance that we think he might win the AEW title. That's where I was leaning. Reek, I know why you thought the belt collector thing was going to go on. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't listen to Savannah. Because that girl is biased as all hell. I listened to that episode of She League Showcase where she went on a rant about Cody and all the stuff she said about the belt collector continuing and him adding New Japan titles and people that I don't know who the fuck she talked to that wants to see this man get another title, but it is no one with common sense in their head. That man does not need another title ever. And he lost one, so we're good now. He's losing them.
I just didn't think like they would go. I wasn't sure if they were actually, going to say, okay, Christian gets a run with another belt. Like I wasn't 100% on that. So I'm like, I was pleasantly surprised to see that they pulled the trick.
Vince's landlord's calling to yell at him about his comments about fucking, oh, really?
That was my landlord saying I need to keep it down. She can't sleep.
You're blasphemy.
Okay. Yeah, no, she's pissed off at what you said about Juventud Guerrera.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she can't sleep. She heard what you said, and now she can't sleep. Look what you did.
Absolute blast.
Where are we going next? SmackDown, NXT, or Raw?
Let's go Raw.
Raw. All right. Monday Night Raw. Randy is back from his Riddle mental health break, and Riddle ruins it right away by showing up. Randy says that they're done. AJ and Omos come out and try to ruin them being done by goading Orton into a match. He misses 2 RKOs and Riddle misses one and then gets squashed by Omos. Hardy loses to Cross. Thank God. Alexa defeats Double D after a wink from Lily in the corner that scared the shit out of her. Miz and Morrison complain about Ricochet and Sheamus confronts them. Going full leprechaun, says he wants to be gold. And Morrison also brings up that he's hurting for a squirtin', which needs to be a t-shirt, and I need that in my collection. Sheamus then defeats Ricochet. Priest defeats Morrison. Miz gets a miracle after confronted by Damian Priest and stands up. Damian Priest's smolder healed the Miz's leg. He is okay. He can stand. It is a miracle, ladies and gentlemen. He is healed. Priest then challenges Sheamus, and he accepts. Morrison catches a bro kick from Priest. And then we move on. T-Bar versus Ali. Don't know who won, but I know Mansoor does take out Mason T-Bar at the end to show a little bit of unity because I did not pay attention to that match whatsoever. T-Bar won. Yep. Reggie was assaulted by Truth and Tozawa in delivery man disguises. Bobby and MVP trash Goldberg, which they should. And then warn his son about what's going to happen to his old man at the pay-per-view. Rhea loses to Nikki via DQ after Charlotte interferes. Elias burns his guitar and says that Elias is dead. And I think that when I tweeted out that Elias was dead, some people took that as a literal statement, not a gimmick statement. So to be clear, the gimmick of Elias is dead. The man is still alive.
Jesus.
And then in our main event, and the whole reason I'm swallowing Monday Night Raw, Randy Orton defeats AJ Styles, and then after hugging Riddle, RKOs him and puts his palm on the back of Riddle's hand or head like the little bitch that he is and just kind of poses. Because New Day tried to tell him, we tried to tell him, he didn't listen, and now he got what he deserved. You dumbass bitch. You got RKO'd because you didn't fucking listen. Take your Burger King bullshit the fuck out of here.
You know, man, fuck Burger King. It's been fucking with me the last few times. I'm protesting Burger King.
The funniest part about it is that you're enjoying this, but reality is it's not over. Because he's just gonna show up again this Monday and be like, "Yo, Randy, why'd you RKO me, bro?"
Listen, if we continue to have Riddle showing up, asking for an apology and getting RKO'd, I will love it week in, week out. Where you will lose me is if Randy breaks down and reforms RK Bro and they go for the tag team titles and then win, because that is spit worthy all day long. But Randy just fucking Matt Riddle up with RKOs and punt kicks and shit until Riddle gets fed up. All good with that. Give it to me all day. That's what I wanted from the get-go.
Honestly, yeah, I you know what? I've been behind the whole RK Bro thing, but I'm with you on
You
that.
want to get muted again?
Can you let me make my points first before you decide if you want to mute
Don't
me?
yell. We don't want your landlord coming down and kicking you out.
You know what? These aren't the time for shots. You're not Roman Reigns nor John Cena. Don't take low blows. But no, I'm with you that because of what the narrative that was told, Randy emphasizing that he doesn't want to continue this partnership and he RKO'd him at the end. I feel like you'd be backtracking to just reform RK Bro, win the titles, and that I feel like at that point you like if you didn't tell the story that they told on Raw, then you can go ahead and revisit that. You know, him coming back and like, yeah, you know, like let's go for the tag titles. That's fine. But he blatantly said he doesn't want to team with this man anymore, that he's better off alone. He works better alone. And he even said, Riddle, you're better off alone. You've been doing great without me. We're not going to do RK Bro. It was a nice little thing. He basically was saying, like, you were my summer fling, you know, and I'm over you now.
So I'm swallowing that. What else are we swallowing for Monday Night Raw?
What else am I swallowing for
Bobby
Monday Night Raw?
and MVP.
Their promo.
Trashing Goldberg because fuck Goldberg. And
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it.
So
Matt's
here's
the
the
only
thing.
bald bearded man I love and appreciate. Fuck
Appreciate
Goldberg.
that. Here's my issue. If it wasn't for what was going on SmackDown, I might agree with you. But John Cena and Roman Reigns are shitting so hard on the Bobby Lashley Goldberg feud that it's hard for me to enjoy it at this point.
That is true. That's all.
Like they are shitting all over Goldberg Bobby Lashley with how good what they're doing is.
Well, I mean, you only got really one side that are cutting promos. The other side is just spitting undecipherable fucking jargon, because I don't know what the hell Goldberg was saying last week, talking about you're either scared or you're crapping your pants. Like, you sound like an old man. Just shut the fuck up, please. Ugh. I'm thinking my spits. We'll get there.
As long as that at SummerSlam it's just a quick like Goldberg squash match where Bobby Lashley just beats the shit out of Goldberg, I'm cool with it. But if we get anything other than like Bobby Lashley retaining, I'm gonna throw a fucking fit.
I'm swallowing Karrion Kross defeating the Lesser Hardy because
I'm always spitting Karrion Kross. I don't know if there's anything I want to. You know, I want to really swallow.
Also, Sheamus saying he wants me gold because that was fantastic.
I want to swallow Sheamus for just being Sheamus. And you know what this week proved to me? He proved that he is arguably the greatest, if not like the best ever masked wrestler in wrestling history. I feel like he has surpassed the likes of Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis, La Parka, Yushin Thunder Liger, Mankind, Kane, and Vader all in one go. It's like he kind of Thanos all their superpowers together and just became the best wrestler.
Thank you.
Like,
I can't take this shit all night.
So listen, there's that famous saying, what is it, from The Dark Knight? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That is what this Sheamus Stan account that Vince has become has turned into. He did not die a hero. He is now let this live long enough to see him become a villain. Again, as I said at the beginning of the show, the opinions of the co-hosts are not necessarily those of the host. Neither I nor Reek co-sign that Sheamus is better than the likes of Vader, Rey Mysterio, Kane, or Mankind as a masked wrestler, seeing as he's not really a masked wrestler. The only person he's really comparable to is Trish Stratus and Cody Rhodes, because it's the same kind of mask. And if you want to say that Sheamus is a better wrestler than Cody Rhodes with the mask, I'll give you that. Trish Stratus, I might have to argue with you that about, because it's fucking Trish Stratus.
And she still had a pretty damn good year, even with the mask on.
Greatest mass wrestler ever.
Oh my god! You know, when this started, we
It was
just wanted
fun. It was fun.
we just wanted you to put some respect on a man's name when this started.
And I
But
told you we moved on. Like, that's not a thing anymore. Now it's Hoovin.
Yeah.
Like, we are focused on Hoovy now. Like,
You
it's full
said- I'm
Hoovy
telling
shame
you,
going
man,
forward. That's it.
You just are determined to be blasphemous this entire show. Good
He wants
Give
me
me
gold.
Sheamus or give me death.
He wants me gold, and hurting for squirting were two of my favorite parts of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
So I will swallow those. What are we spitting from Monday Night Raw?
Everything
Oh,
Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, and Eva Marie related.
you know, yeah, I'll start there. Yeah. So you know, I'm always been with you about the whole supernatural characters and stuff like that. I feel like whatever Sting was supposed to hit with Alexa is not hitting anymore. And the whole thing with Lily, initially I was feeling it, but now it's just like I don't know. Something about it just lost me. Like all of this, you know, the animation stuff. Like, oh, okay, so she stood up. Okay, cool. That's great. A doll can stand up on its own. A doll can wink at you. Okay, but it's almost like the whole thing with Shayna. When Shayna was like running after the show and trying to hide from him, and then the lights went out and she screams, and it's like, okay, well, what the fuck happened? It's like they keep giving this like a build up to something that just like it seems like it's never going to happen. Like either Lily is going to take physical form of somebody and just start terrorizing the whole roster, which I'm with. But if we're not going to do that, then it's like, what the hell are we just keep feigning the threat of this doll for? It's like, I'm to the point where it's like, I'm wondering, what the hell is the big deal about this doll? Okay, so she tricked Eva and she did something to Shayna. Shayna was fine the next week. She wasn't possessed. She wasn't hurt. Nothing. So I just...
Like they
I
have
really-
moments, but it hasn't hit like when like at Money in the Bank where Alexa is just kind of like mesmerizing Selena Vega into climbing down the ladder. Stuff like that is cool. But like I don't know, man. It's just not fucking hitting.
Yeah, it's
I am not
it's-
going to spit that segment. I'm going to leave that segment neither spit or swallowed. I'm not going to say it was good. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm not going to say I loved it, but I'm not going to say it was bad. Here's what I will say about it. If you have Lily and you have to do something with Lily and you are no longer in a pandemic era where you can do fun shit like they did with The Fiend and Alexa with camera tricks and pre-recording and shit like that, and this is how you want to go about it, it is creative and inventive, and it is something that they tried. It wasn't the greatest thing ever. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was spit worthy. If I was a wrestler and I went to a corner and a doll winked at me, I'd probably shit myself a little bit too. Stumble back into a roll up. I would like to see a more evil, powerful, dominant version of Alexa as well, like we saw when she first got these powers, which we are not seeing for whatever reason. But I'm not going to shit on it because it is literally, if we shit on it and they make it go away, then we go back to old Alexa. And I don't really need old Alexa being a mean girl with the blonde hair and the cheerleader shit. Like, I want them to take this and make it better. I don't want them to get rid of it like most of the internet seems to, because, oh, well, I didn't like this week, so it sucks. We need to go back to old. No, we do not need to go back to old Alexa. We need to figure out a way to make this Alexa work.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not saying go back to old Alexa. I'm just saying figure something out, because what you're doing right now isn't working.
Yeah, like the gimmick is fine. It's just like I need something more out of it. It's like I feel like we're just like hovering on the surface of it without actually digging in. You know?
I mean, the Fiend was a thing when crowds were around. It's like, and they made it work exactly. So you can make it work. They just haven't found something.
Oh, so also the one I really need to get to, and this is not the next. Won't be the last time I bring this up. But I'm also, once again, feverishly projectile spitting bum ass Corbin.
Oh, no. If you didn't pay attention, we did a recap and that was not talked about, because from now on, if a wrestler appears off brand on a show, it is not canon and we do not speak about it on this podcast. So whatever you were talking, you can talk about it on Sunday all you want if you want to do non-canon shit. I did not cover that because it did not happen. If you want to yell about this man when we get to SmackDown, where he belongs, you can. But from now on, I have made an executive decision that if a wrestler appears off-brand on either Raw or SmackDown, we will not be discussing that in any way, shape, or form. I'm giving it no energy.
Oh my God.
On a completely.
Uh-oh, they froze. Let's take a look here. They come back. Well, I'm waiting for them to come
That's all
back.
I want to say.
You froze, so nobody heard that. Both of you guys froze, so it was probably on my end. Yeah, it says my internet connection, even though it says my link quality is 100% right now. So, Vince, am I going to want you to repeat what you just said?
Not relevant enough.
Okay.
Baron Corbin
the
TikToks.
TikTok video of him going through it.
Oh, okay. We can talk about that on SmackDown because that's where he belongs and that's where he showed up.
I saw something that made me spit it.
You saw nothing. So Monday Night Raw, spit or swallow.
I can't spit it. I'll gargle as well.
Yeah. I was like, hear about it. So
Randy Orton was just like saved Raw, to be honest. And the Lashley MVP promo was very fucking good.
NXT or SmackDown? Where are we going?
Let's go NXT.
NXT. We kick it off with Dakota Kai taking on Saray because the Toni Storm match is no longer going to happen because she got called up and not used on SmackDown. And then after the match, the Angry Giant comes down and says that Dakota is going to get her title match if she wants it. We got Index's first date throughout the night where they go to an Italian restaurant. Dexter Lumis shows up with flowers, and Candace and Johnny spy on Index. They're at the restaurant. Johnny dresses up as a waiter with a cake. Poor Dexter Lumis gets a face full of cake twice in one night because Indy said she loves dessert. And they are going to have dessert whether Johnny and Candace want them to or not.
Without protection, apparently.
All of that was fantastic. We got a really cool Hit Row vignette talking about Legado del Fantasma and the trouble that they're in. We had a very impassioned promo from Ilya Dragunov. Pete Dunne comes down, says that basically he is the head of the table and Dragunov needs to acknowledge him because he is the man that built the table that is NXT UK. Dragunov says, I don't know you shit, Dunne. And then they made a match for later. LA Knight interview reminds Cameron Grimes where his place is. He defeats Chase real quick. Then DiBiase comes back. Takeover 36, Grimes versus Knight for the $1 million belt. And if Cameron Grimes loses, Ted DiBiase will be the new butler for LA Knight. We got a Gigi Dolan vignette where she says that she isn't alone. And then she wins an enhancement match with not only a dope finisher, but what is now currently my favorite theme song in WWE because it is Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams, which I love. And it's fucking awesome. And if you don't know where you guys can hear that or where that song is from and you are a horror movie fan, House on Haunted Hill. That song is from House on Haunted Hill. Cole and O'Reilly contract signing, 2 out of 3 falls match. So first off, I'll get into it.
These are stipulations that make sense and they escalate as they go along.
I'm going to complain about it, so we'll get to it. Regular match, street fight, and if it gets the third fall, steel cage match. And then Adam and Kyle brawl. We got a Thatcher and Ciampa promo. Ciampa wants Ridge Holland, but Thatcher's like, no, I'm going to take him first. Imperium wants to purify wrestling, and MSK don't give a shit what Imperium wants. Odyssey Jones defeats Trey Baxter to move on in the breakout tournament. Boa gets a win for the first time in his NXT career, as far as I can remember, against Drake Maverick. And actually gets a little shine and isn't treated like Xia Li's sidekick. And in our main event, which was a banger, Pete Dunne defeats Dragunov after a distraction from Walter. And then as Walter gets in the ring, Dragunov puts him on his ass back outside. Obviously, we're swallowing the main event. Those guys, Pete Dunne and Dragunov, like this NXT UK and that style of wrestling that Pete Dunne and Dragunov and Walter bring, like it's always a fucking banger. It's always fucking fire. It's always so physical and like really fun, but hard to watch because they're beating the dog piss out of each other. And Dragunov standing tall against Walter, heading into that takeover match. It's not the last time. We might see them next week, so it may not be, the last thing we see, because we still have an NXT and an NXT to go through, or NXT UK to go through before we get there. But I'm feeling it. Like I'm excited for Dragunov versus fucking Walter, and I'm happy that Pete Dunne got the win here, even though it was after a distraction. Keep Pete Dunne strong. Let's get it.
Also want to swallow the whole way index story linear plot that was being told, and I want to have a specific swallow for Mr. and Mrs. Gargano, because I felt like their acting throughout these vignettes were fucking fantastic. I thought they were great. I'm just a big fan of them, but I thought they were fucking perfect. Index were good. There were two. They were fantastic. But I feel like the ones that really shined for me was Gargano and Candice LeRae.
I'm swallowing the whole show. Like it was all doing it for me. Like the hit roll promo in the back with the lucha mask, all disrespect. The stuff with everything with the Dakota Kai and Sarray had a dope match.
It was such a good match.
Yeah. The whole I've been saying, like, ever since LA Knight won the $1 million championship, like that gave him, kind of an identity now, and like he's really kind of taking off. The only thing that concerns me is I feel like they're gonna end this before it's like really getting started, because now with the stipulation, like it feels like they're just setting it up for Cameron to finally win, and it's like there was some traction to get out of this whole thing with LA Knight in the championship, so it's like to take it off him like now. I don't feel like we need to do that.
I mean, we're assuming that could be the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the unthinkable and LA Knight retaining and having Ted DiBiase as his new butler for a short period of time until like Cameron Grimes has to kind of like train and level up in the hyperbolic time chamber until he's able to defeat LA Knight. No.
Listen, as much as I've enjoyed this, I do not need after this another LA Knight Cameron Grimes match for the same bullshit. Like they have. At that point, they will have done it to death, and so we're swallowing the whole show, right?
Can I get a specific swallow for Odyssey Jones, because that man is a stud?
Sure.
Yeah, specific swallow for Odyssey Jones.
I've got 2 spits. So, does anyone else have spits?
No.
Was Aaliyah on the show?
No, she's not. She's on Raw now, and they don't use her.
Tyler Russ wasn't on the show, right?
No, he got fired.
He's
Vince.
fired.
Was Frankie Monet on the show?
No.
I don't think so.
Was Karen Cross on the show?
No.
There's nothing for me to spit.
I got 2 spits. One is a nitpick, and that's what I'm gonna do first. 2 out of 3 falls. The announcement. First off, a 2 out of 3 falls match is a 2 out of 3 falls match. It is a straight up match. Whoever gets 2 falls first wins the match. There are no stipulations. And when you make it stipulations, it is then a 3 stages of hell match. It is not a 2 out of 3 falls match. Also, if it was a 3 stages of hell match, then this is the most basic overused version of 3 Stages of Hell that they always fucking do, where it is a singles match and then a street fight and then a cage match. We've seen it time and time again. It is the tried and true formula, and it is overplayed. And for a feud like Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, give me something more if you're going to go 3 Stages of Hell, and fucking call it 3 Stages of Hell.
I mean,
if you're going to call it a 2 out of 3 falls match, then there are no stipulations.
I mean, to be fair, Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly has been kind of like what this three stages of hell stipulation is. You know, it's kind of like
which is why you need to turn the volume up on it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, is I don't think you're going to be able to.
You give me a submission match or an I Quit match in there. You give me, you know, instead of a cage match, maybe a fight pit for the last one. That would have been fucking cool and unique. Put him in the fucking fight pit if it goes to third fall. Like, do something. This was a basic ass 3 Stages of Hell match that we have seen time and time again. And it is a 3 Stages of Hell match. It is not a 2 out of 3 falls match, because a 2 out of 3 falls match does not include stipulations in WWE lore and in the WWE universe. That is not how that works. So that's a little nitpick, but that's what I'm spitting. Also, I got one more.
True.
Go ahead,
it's true though. Like, NXT follows that same pattern, because it's like the second they said it's going to be 2 out of 3 falls, I'm like, I know what stipulations are going to be, or at least a rough idea. You know, like if you have a street fight, a steel cage match, and then I Quit after that, then it's like, okay, I'm with that. But like you said, you got to name it properly, because I haven't heard the terms 3 Stages of Hell in probably over a decade now, and they've been trying to get away with this shit, which is one of my quiet little nitpicks. I just don't mention it. It's the truth. Like, if you're gonna name it, you know, if you're gonna put stipulations on each one of these matches, then you need to call it by the correct title, because they haven't done it and they need to, and that is bullshit. So I agree.
My other is, I'm not a fan of babyface Ted DiBiase, because Ted DiBiase is not a babyface to me. Him simping for Cameron Grimes and trying to push him to be a good guy and backing him like
$1 million man is.
That's not my Ted DiBiase, and I'm not okay with that. It bugs the piss out of me. It kind of ruins the story for me a little bit, which is why I don't want to see another match after this, because I don't need more babyface Ted DiBiase in my life. And I know I gave Vince shit for it a couple weeks ago. I am now solidly on the Vince train. This is not my Ted DiBiase, and I don't want to see it. Last,
thank you for coming over to my side.
I got to agree with you every now and then. Last spit has nothing to do with the actual show, but the fans. I'm spitting everyone that looks like me, who said that the Hit Row stuff was bad, who insinuated that they were thugs, didn't get it, didn't like it, because this is great shit. This is good shit. This is entertaining shit. This is one of the best things on NXT. I understand if you don't like rap music. I mean, I don't, because I do like rap music. So I don't understand that you don't, but like, I get that it might not be your thing, but saying something is terrible because it's not your thing is not how we do things, especially if it's really good and entertaining, which is what this is. So don't let your personal bias, negativity, whatever you want to call it, ruin something that's really great and entertaining that's going on. Get over it.
Karens are free to change the channel at any time. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
What's the male equivalent to a Karen?
I want to say Kyle, but
just because it starts with a K.
I mean,
I mean,
there's a history of K's, and you know.
Yeah. No, we're good. I'm swallowing NXT, you guys.
Same.
Yep.
Swallowing it.
SmackDown. We kick it off with probably the best opening segment we have seen in wrestling in years. John Cena gives Roman the D. I mean, AD. Then he gives him an F, or will give him an F. Does this whole report card thing, which I honestly didn't love. Like, it was kind of cheesy, but it only got better from here, because John then is confronted by Roman Reigns, and just the promos back and forth between John might get beat up, but he's going to win. Roman says Cena's played out. Cena talks about how he's going to be a failure. Roman is going to be the failure, and in history, he's going to be looked at as the guy that John Cena beat to be 17-time world champion. We get some low blows. We got John Cena talking about Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We got Roman out here saying that Nikki Bella doesn't enjoy Missionary as much as John does. That's why she left. This got really fucking good, and it is what I feel like we've been missing from wrestling as far as promos go for a very long time. When I say wrestling, I mean all wrestling, because you do not get promos like this on AEW. You do not get promos like this on Raw or NXT.
The last time I felt this giddy about a promo was when Samoa Joe came out and ran down everybody in the ring and personally singled out Jeff Hardy about, like, Jeff, why don't you pretend like you're in AA, what was it, AAU? AA meeting. Meeting, and you sit and you stay quiet while I'm sharing with the group, and Randy Orton just dying.
I was gonna say the last time I was into it was when he came out and started talking about AJ's wife,
which was before this. Which
was it?
Before
okay.
Yeah, because remember he goes up to AJ. He's like, "Hey AJ, be honest with me. How's our old girl Wendy doing?"
We needed John Cena versus Samoa Joe for a title. That's what we needed. But neither here nor there.
Oh my god.
Shinsuke defeats Apollo to become the new IC champion. Street Profits defeat Alpha Academy. Seth yells at the production truck and babbles on about Edge. Then comes out, tells us Edge isn't here tonight. Says that it's okay though, because apparently he's Edge Light, so you guys get Edge Light. Then he tells us that he's not Edge Light, he's just a little bit better. Then he plays a video package to show us why he's better.
Fucking fantastic.
And then tells everyone that they should thank Seth for not basically ending Edge's career and putting him in a wheelchair 7 years ago, because if he had done it, we wouldn't be getting what we're getting now. So everything that we're seeing, we owe to Seth Rollins. Mysterios versus Ziggler and Rude. No idea who won, because again, tuned out. That was my piss break match.
Mysterios.
I think the Mysterios won because that's when the Usos came out and taunted them in the Titantron.
Yeah, see, I didn't see any of that. That was when I took my piss break. Corbin's still fucking up, and Reek's gonna have a lot to say about that. KO tries to come down and straighten him out. Corbin says he ain't leaving without at least $1,000. Owen says, all right, I'll give you a chance to earn your money. You beat me tonight, you get $1,000. But if you lose to me tonight, you're done begging. You're done with this bullshit. It's over. You just try and earn your money like a regular human being. Corbin then doesn't know when to shut up and ends up getting stunned. Yeah. And then loses to Kevin Owens, and now he can't beg anymore, supposedly. And then in our main event of the night, Sonya announces that Sasha and Bianca's contract signing.
You missed the part backstage where he steals Big E's briefcase.
Oh, yeah. Corbin, not knowing what to do, walks by Big E, who was playing Hangman with Bianca earlier in the night or something.
I think he was helping her work on her signature because she had to go sign the contract. He kept saying, work on your...
Did you notice that she wrote Bianca twice, though, and not Bianca Belair?
Yeah, that's why I said, I was like, he's probably helping talking,
working on the Biancas, working on the beats for Bianca.
Okay. Anyway, Corbin steals the Money in the Bank and takes the fuck off. Again, not how Money in the Bank works. Just like on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown, John Cena and Finn Balor, not how that works. You don't get to just walk in and take someone's contract that has their name on it and then write your name over it and get shit. Anyway, main event, Sonya announces Sasha and Bianca for the contract signing. Sasha says before they sign the contract, she needs witnesses. Out come Carmella and Zelina.
Are they getting married?
Both women out. And then Sasha attacks Bianca from behind, puts her on the table where the contracts are, and then uses her braid to put her in the bank statement and chokes her out as we go off air. What do we obviously we're swallowing the open segment.
Oh, can I swallow it like 2 or 3 more times?
That's a golden swallow with the velvet throat and all.
Yeah, that's the one where you just sit there. I'm like, please, sir, may I have some more? That's how good it was, man. That's what we, like you say, Matt, we've been missing that from wrestling. And I just kind of wish they've been doing this. Like Johnson has showed up on 2 SmackDowns prior to this. Why was there no interaction with Roman Reigns other than when he came in and just...
I can tell you why.
Why?
So the reason that this felt so special is because we haven't gotten it. So saving it for when they did made it special. If you had gotten this kind of interaction last week and the week before, and then this week, this would not have felt special. The reason this felt so special and awesome is because we haven't been getting it. If we had been getting promos like this the entire time, the whole show would have been more entertaining, but this would not have felt so good.
Well, I will argue that what helped the build up to Cena Rock #1 was the fact that they were throwing shots at each other like week after week after week, and the build up to CM Punk and John Cena during the Summer of Punk was helped because they were having fire promos consistently.
Those guys naturally do that shit. Like Rock just can go on the mic nonstop soaking Punk. It's just like,
I was going to say, even with them taking the handcuffs off Roman Reigns supposedly and letting him cut his own promos, Roman Reigns on a microphone is no CM Punk or The Rock.
Correct.
Fair enough, but how are you going to learn or get a guy to get better without getting some reps? Let him go out there, get his feet wet.
And this was him getting a rep in. But here's the thing. You can't just throw this man to the sharks like they did the last time with John Cena and let him get eaten every week.
So I will say this is that there were like a distinct difference from the Roman Reigns of now and the Roman Reigns of way back when he first was throwing verbal jabs to John Cena. Back then, it felt like John Cena was eating him up alive every single fucking week. Similarly to what they were doing to Karrion Kross on NXT, everyone was roasting him, even Johnny Gargano. But now, Roman just felt like almost on par with Cena, or wasn't even shook with John Cena. I don't think he lost the promo battle by any means. Everybody's like, oh, John Cena, that he cooked Roman Reigns. I'm like, he didn't cook Roman Reigns. He just had a nice little zingers there. But a lot of what Roman Reigns was saying was true. And I don't know. I'd like to say that verbal battle was a little bit more even than people like to give credit.
It's like you said, he's not scripted anymore. The handcuffs are off. So he can...
I don't think anyone expected the Nikki Bella line. I think that was my favorite line.
That did it for me.
Also, mind you, if you listen to what Roman Reigns said, Roman Reigns has been repeating a lot of the same shit every week. He went back to the missionary stuff. Now, he tweaked it and made it better by adding the Nikki line, but he went back to it. He went back to this is the same old John Cena. There's nothing new here. Like, Roman Reigns doesn't have the range that a Rock or a CM Punk does. He does not move as well on his feet. He had something. He went with it. He took it. He made it better. This is not something he's going to be able to keep doing week in and week out, because that's all he's got is, you're the old John Cena. You're boring. It's the same John Cena we've seen for 10 years. Missionary. Funny line about Missionary. Okay, people like that. Let's take Missionary and make it funnier. Talk about Nikki Bella. Make it personal. Like, that's what he did. And it worked. But this is not something this man can do 3-4 weeks in a row.
So that's okay. So yeah, you're right. You have a fair point there. But I will say, in the argument I've been trying to make right now is that I don't think that John Cena murdered him or roasted him or cooked him or whatever verbiage you want to use. I think it was more on par. It was more like level. They were both leveled, I want to say.
They paced themselves because they needed to. Like, more like to what Matt was saying. It's like it was special because they held off on it. And literally John came out and said it's a special night. He basically let you know what was going to happen before you even got in the ring. But like they kept it simple. Like, you could see like on Roman's face, he's like, I'm not going to do too much. I'm just going to let you get your little jabs out. I'll throw a couple. It was like a nice little heavyweight fight. John's throwing his shots in. Roman gets his his jab, a couple uppercuts. And they fall back a little bit.
I like
Roman went for that kill shot. He tried to, you know what I'm saying? He said, man, listen, you wasn't giving Nikki no back shots. He wasn't arching the back. He wasn't pulling no hair. He wasn't doing nothing with it.
No foreplay.
He got tired of Reggie Dick and kept it pushing.
You know what? I also did like the little subtle jab at Bobby Lashley saying, you're good, man. You're a 16-time world champion. You're good enough to be WWE champion, but you're not good enough to win the Universal Championship. That line right there was
that's actually a history lesson, because if you go back about 13 years, they had a feud for the WWE Championship that I I was so hyped because I thought Bobby Lashley was going to beat him at Great American Bash in 08. He did it, and I was pissed off and I was angry. But that's a good history lesson for the kids that know.
And they've had a match at No Mercy, and who won that? But the Tribal Chief himself. So,
which is another thing I hate, because number one, if you were going to have that match, it should have happened at a WrestleMania. But this would be so much bigger if they never did have a match at all.
That was just a case of WWE back then blowing their load with Roman right off the bat. Like, they should have built up to that match. Like, even they blew their load on Raw a lot. Like, they gave us Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar and Great Balls of Fire, where that could have been the SummerSlam main event. That match was fantastic. It was the best thing about that pay-per-view.
I want to move on from this. We got to talk about other shit. We still got the rest of our swallows and our spits, and I know Reek's going to have to go on a little bit of a tangent about Baron, so I want to give him time to do that. So, what else are we swallowing from SmackDown?
Sasha Banks.
Yep.
All day, every day. I think she's doing great work. She's coming back and she's making that match. That might be the second match I'm looking forward to the most at SummerSlam, other than Roman Reigns, John Cena, and they just both so happy to be SmackDown matches, which is just tells you the level of star power that both Sasha Banks, John Cena, Bianca Belair, and Roman Reigns all carry. Those are the most 4 interesting wrestlers leading up to SummerSlam. Also, I don't care what you say, Rick. I want to swallow everything bum ass Baron Corbin, because god damn it, do I love this gimmick. I think it's hilarious. I think every fucking week they just get me every fucking time. The whole interaction with Kevin Owens has been great. I don't like non-canon stuff. That's where I draw the line. But everything canon on SmackDown, it's fucking fantastic. Him running away with the briefcase, fucking gold. Fucking gold. I love bum ass Baron Corbin. Give me more.
I'm gonna let Reek go last. So, are we spitting anything from SmackDown?
I'm spitting no Finn Balor addressing John Cena, even though John Cena was there. That I felt like was kind of dumb. Last week, he's like, John Cena, if I have to go through you to get to the Universal title, then that's what I'm gonna do. Yes, I know he got jumped by 3 guys last week, but it's like, John Cena was there. You knew he was going to come back. You would think he'd make an effort to show up. That's my whole issue there. That's the one thing I want to spit. I want to spit the Alpha Academy Street Profit stuff because I just don't honestly care. And as much as a great wrestler he is, I want to, and I love the man. I want to spit the Mysterios versus Rudolph match because he was just kind of there. It didn't have anything to do with shit.
I want to say this for our viewing and listening audience real quick. I predicted what is coming months ago. I think in like the
another
summer,
rake prediction.
The summer where they had the feud with Seth and all sorts of stuff. I said it and I'm gonna say it again. Dom is about to break all of your hearts, and it's going to, just like I said Adam Cole was gonna break your heart about that Undisputed Era. Dom is going to break your hearts, and he is going to beat his father's ass. And they
sometime within like the next 8 months, because Reek needs an 8-month lead time for his predictions. At some point, eventually in his career, Dominic is going to turn on his father.
They're just leading it because it's like, oh yeah, you're making rookie mistakes. On and on and on. It might happen at SummerSlam.
I'm not going to spit or swallow either of those things because they were neither spit or, like, I didn't hate them, but I didn't need them. So they're just the one thing I am going to spit is Apollo Crews losing to Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC title because of multiple reasons. One, I don't think Shinsuke needs to still be in the IC title range. I want to see new people injected into that. I don't want to see guys like Kevin Owens and Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro just sitting there trading that title back and forth, Sami Zayn. And also, I don't like how they did Apollo Crews. That started off great with this character and the character work and the promos and everything he was doing. And then they put the title on him and they put Aziz with them. And then they just kind of said, it was that shiny new toy that Vince got tired of. He's like, oh, that was fun. Fuck it. And then it got really, really boring. And it's like, all right, now that we're tired of it, we'll just take the title off him and go put it back on Shinsuke. And Apollo's going to probably end up back in catering. I hope not. I hope we go back to letting Apollo do some character shit. But
no, I don't think Apollo's going to go back to catering. I think they hit something with Apollo. I think the issue just became that he plateaued. There was only so far he can get up with this character on SmackDown, given that you have Roman Reigns. Because the next logical step is to be a dominant IC champion. That's the one issue, is they didn't pursue that a little bit more as him being a dominant IC champion, having a lengthy reign.
They didn't feature him as IC champion. They didn't let him come out and cut heel promos. They didn't let him do anything. Like I said, Vince got tired of it. He's like, oh, this is fun. This is a new toy. And then he got sick of it. And he's like, all right, well, he's got Aziz with them. We'll just, who else aren't we using? Cesaro, Big E, Sami Zayn. Yeah, just throw those guys in there and let them have some matches to fill some time. Like, that's my point. We could have done more, and we could have built this man and used him and made the mid-card entertaining, and we didn't. We put all of our creative energy into Roman Reigns and basically said, fuck everything. Roman and Sasha and Bianca, and said, fuck everything else.
You stole my entire speech right out of my head. Because I've been saying, like, I've been looking and watching, and I keep forgetting to mention it on our show. But I'll just be like, where the hell's Apollo been? It's like just weeks we just won't see him at all. Or he'll just be in these random throwaway tag team matches or six-man tag matches. It's like, this is your Intercontinental Champion who you repackaged and gave a great gimmick to. And like you said, was booked strong as hell. And then you even gave him this massive-ass dude that's his heater. It's like, this was something that you could have built off of. He didn't have to be Roman Reigns, but he could have been one of those next top heels on the show. It's not like you got a whole, abundance of them on the show. So that there was nothing wrong with that. There was no ceiling for this. This could have gone for a while. But like you said, they started dropping the ball and said, oh, I don't care about that. And the fact that he had the Intercontinental title when this happened, it's like, that makes it even worse, because the biggest thing that we've talked about for years has been the way they'd be mistreating those mid-card titles. And it's like, when you have a great gimmick on a great wrestler, putting some prestige back into these titles, you have to spotlight them. Otherwise, we're not going to care about them. And that's why this match didn't hit for me, because it's like he said, Shinsuke didn't need it, but he just kind of took it off of Apollo after we just haven't been seeing him.
That's what I'm saying, is you could have taken Kevin Owens, you could have taken Shinsuke Nakamura, and we could have been doing feuds for months, singles feuds with promos and actual stories and character work, built Apollo up and built Aziz up as Apollo's heavy, helping him eke out these wins against more veteran, talented baby faces like these guys. And we didn't do that. Instead, we just had him kind of keep fighting Big E over and over again, and occasionally added some other people in the mix, and then jobbed him out to Shinsuke without really, like, the story is Shinsuke got a guitar player who basically changed his fortune, and then he won a crown, and then he won the IC title, and it was fuck Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Reek.
He won the IC title at WrestleMania and hasn't been on a pay-per-view since then to even defend the title. That's
Reek.
Ridiculous.
Baron Corbin. What do you got to say?
Okay, here's the deal.
I'm upset.
So I started saying this on our show last week. I'm gonna say it again. The key rule, the cardinal rule in poverty. I won't say I said homelessness last time. I'll say the cardinal rule in poverty is beggars cannot be fucking choosers. This man has been begging since, what is it? Just after Backlash, when he had his bad investments before he lost his crown. That is about 4 months of begging. How in the hell do you have the audacity to ask for some of the stuff you do? It started all the way back when he got on SmackDown, when he had that promo, when he was talking to KO about his wardrobe. First of all, you asked this man for money. How do you have the nerve to disrespect his fit if you're gonna ask him for money? Like, oh, you don't spend money on your wardrobe. Give me some money for it. Nigga, have you lost your fucking mind? Like, fuck. And then KO gives him money the following week. Now, in fairness, there was a tank in the vicinity. Shotzi fired that tank and it hit him right in the nuts, and he got mugged for his money. That's just karma. Karma just hitting him all over the place. By the way, I'm kind of upset I haven't seen Shotzi lately. I know you are too, but just gonna spit that and throw it in there, as well. But yeah, then the one that really got egregious for me Cena. He's the guy we all know. He's the big star around here. This man gave you at least $200. I've seen two Benjamins at least come out of his hand and gave to you. He said, "Oh, John, you're a movie star. Why don't you put me in one of your movies?" What credentials do you have to act? What acting have you done in your career? You are a football player turned boxer. Now you're a wrestler. When did you have time to act? And you talking about putting you in the movie? Oh, put me in the Suicide Squad movie. Put me in one of the Fast and Furious movies. Beggars can't be choosers. Beggars can't be choosers. And I can't technically mention this because I technically didn't see it, but I'll just say I heard that at some point Baron Corbin was asked how much money it would take him to take a shower, wash his ass, get some new clothes because his shirt is molding at this point, and get some food in his stomach. And his response was $100,000. What? How, sir? How?
That is canon because I don't know when it happened, but KO did bring it up.
Oh, exactly. So it's like, what's not hitting for you, bro? Like, how am I supposed to feel bad for you?
No, Vince, hold on. Before you go there, I want to be clear. There is a very specific reason why not only did I have Recon to do this, but I mentioned at the beginning of the show that we live in a weird state of flux in the wrestling world where a character is supposed to elicit a response. And then when you get that response, we want to give someone shit for responding the way they're supposed to. So before you continue, I want to remind you of that and point that out. And now that I have said that, do you continue to want to speak to Reek about this?
Reek, you're supposed to feel this way, man. I feel like this is the point.
It is. So let the man feel that way. That's exactly the point. Is this is how you were supposed to feel. So let the man feel the way he wants to feel. I get when people give me shit because I'm supposed to love that jackass Riddle and Jeff Hardy. Like I'm supposed to like these people and I don't. So when people give me shit for rooting against them and wanting to see bad things happen to them, I get that. But when Baron Corbin is doing such a good job at his gimmick that this man has a full-on rant about all of the things that are wrong with Baron Corbin, I cannot sit here and give him shit because that is the entire point of watching wrestling is to elicit that response. Now, I will argue with TC all day because TC up until today, because I saw him on Twitter say, okay, that's enough. But up until today, TC has been supporting Baron Corbin. So I will fight TC all day because that is the story that is being told. But I will not give Reek shit for feeling the way he is supposed to feel about a character because that is what wrestling is supposed to do. And we got to stop shaming each other for feeling that way when wrestling is doing what it's supposed to do. So props to you.
I'm going to tell you this too right now. If y'all are enjoying this fury that comes from me, just wait till Sunday because I'm gonna get that nigga too. Talking about he asking for $1,000 from everybody. Oh, come on, man. No. TC gonna hear my mouth all episode on Sunday. Just y'all wait. This ain't about to be nothing yet.
Oh man, I just want to say I love bum ass Baron Corbin. That's all I want to say.
Tonight. I mean, it's been going too far, but tonight was like beyond. Like this dude is worse than some of these pastors on here on TV. Oh, I need the denomination. We need lights up in the church. I need $100 from everybody. This nigga said, I want $1,000 from everybody in the office. Where did you even get a square pocket for your phone, bro? Where did you get money for that? I need to know. And $1,000 from everybody in the audience. Have you lost your rabbit ass mind? I can't. I can't do it.
I don't know that WWE would do it because you know how Vince is, but I think the logical conclusion to this Baron Corbin story arc before we close up with whether we swallowed SmackDown and get out of here is that they bring in Nick Gage and he takes Corbin to go rob a bank because this is Corbin's people now. He sees how the other end lives and ends up in jail for robbing a bank without a ski mask because that's what these kind of people do. So,
oh yeah,
Logical conclusion.
I did say that if some shit like that happens, I will. That is where you will finally get me if that happens. Like I needed to sink as low as it possibly can. Like this can't go upwards until Baron Corbin is sucking dick for money. It cannot rebound and go upwards.
Which reminds me, we asked about that last week if he was giving hand jobs to fans. Kenny said he cannot confirm nor deny whether that was happening, but his co-host Brandon bought at least 4. So, are we swallowing SmackDown or spitting SmackDown?
Swallow.
Oh, swallow.
Swallow.
So my initial stance is to spit SmackDown because of Shotzi, but off of the power of the John Cena Roman Reigns opening segment alone, coupled with the closing segment with Sasha and Bianca, I'm going to let the lack of Shotzi slide for 1 week, and I will swallow SmackDown. What is the best show of the week? Between Rampage, NXT, and SmackDown, what was the best show of the week?
I kind of want to give it a Rampage. Just because it was so like small and condensed, everything was good. Just made me feel like what NXT used to feel like before it went to USA.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I'll deny that I ever did. But I'm kind of in agreement on that. Like Rampage, I don't watch AEW all the way through on a regular basis, but I was into this show the entire time. Granted, SmackDown always hits it out the park, and this was no different. But it's just there was something special about this on this evening for AEW.
I'm going to go on NXT just because it was a longer show that offered more. And outside of the 2 little nitpicks, we basically said we were swallowing that whole show and then double swallowing specifics about that show. And outside of maybe Christian Kenny Omega, overall, the wrestling matches as a whole were better. I'd put Dakota Kai and Saray over Red Velvet versus Britt Baker on a in-ring perspective match basis. Not taking anything away from what they did in the main event, but technically from a match standpoint, I'd put that over. I would put over Pete Dunne and Walter over Miro. I'd put that up against
Pete
Kenny
Dunne versus Sayla and Dragon. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
Dragunov.
Pete Dunne versus Dragunov up against Miro, easy over Miro, and even up against Kenny versus fucking as far as in-ring competition, that might have been the best match of the week for me.
That was, yeah, absolutely. So, Pete Dunne, Dragunov was match of the week.
Okay, well, maybe I just got caught up with like recency bias and the fact that was the last show that you know what? I'm a team player, man. I'm gonna go with president of the moment. I'm gonna go in NXT.
And that's not taking anything away from Rampage, because I'd say Rampage, despite what we got on SmackDown, which also happened tonight, would have probably been the second best show of the week. And if NXT hadn't have been so good with such damn good matches and then the fun index shit, I probably would have gone Rampage as well.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? You swayed me, Matt. I'm going NXT. I changed my vote.
Yeah, that is true. You reminded me of Pete Dunne. And
And
I did love Saray and Dakota Kai too. You got me. You got me.
So for Wreak Havoc, Daddy Delgado, the Pornhub Poppy Vince, and the Warden Matt Ritter, the best show of the week as per the Smackin' Raw podcast is NXT. We didn't get to plug it at the beginning of the show, so real quick, because you guys got me all off track with your fucking judgments, unbiased judgments. You guys can find those Black Lives Matter t-shirts from Young Kings Wrestling. My pin tweet at Matt Ritter, which we will run down again here in a second. But also they are from What a Maneuver. So go check that out. Get that money out there, because that money goes into a fund. And then the money from that fund is distributed to families and people who were affected by police brutality and just general systematic injustice that exists in America and in our world today. And it is a cause that is very near and dear to all of us here, as well as I'm assuming most of our listeners, because we do support the Black Lives Matter movement, not the corporation that was built around the movement. So we support what the movement stands for, not the corporation, which is why we ask that you give your money to people that we know and trust, like TC and Reek over at Young Kings, who are doing good things with that money and not bullshit. Reek, tell them where they can find you. Tell them about the Friday 13th podcast, what we got going on with Star Wars. A lot of fun shit happening over at the Havoc Hour.
Oof, man, I tell you, I gotta say it real quick. I appreciate the shit out of y'all, because I did not ever think that when I went off on my own to do this shit, that I would actually be as busy as I am with this content. So, y'all keep me busy, and I appreciate y'all. So, y'all can find me at ReekHavoc24 on Instagram and on Twitter. You can find Young Kings Wrestling at YK Wrestling on Twitter, YK Wrestling _ on Instagram, because we're still in negotiations about our page that they shut down for no good damn reason. The Havoc Hour, my show, which talks sports, entertainment, movies, that is on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube for the video, wherever you listen to your podcast. Same thing for Young Kings Wrestling, wherever you stream your podcasts and or watch them. We have a Star Wars episode I just dropped, covering the entire series. Started with the originals. Mr. Matt Ritter was here. Miss Katie Bebe. Working on part 2, probably next week. Also, as he mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, it was Friday the 13th. I think we're into the 14th now, but since it was Friday the 13th,
when we started recording.
Yeah, when we started. For a festive occasion, we had a special 2-part episode. It actually was 3 hours, but I split up, so it's about an hour and a half each. But yeah, it was a long one, so we split up into two episodes. We were talking the entire franchise from first movie to the last. Also, again, my horror movie enthusiast, Mr. Matt Ritter, and Miss Katie Bebe, who watched for the very first time, got her reactions to it as well. A wonderful conversation that went almost 4 hours long, but that's up. Star Wars episode is up, along with a bunch of other content to check out. Check that out. Check out Young Kings Wrestling. Get your merch. That's it.
Vince, tell them about your shit.
Well, Ashley, funny enough, as Rick was saying, he was getting busy. Straight Talk Podcast is going to be very busy. We're going to have a very few episodes going to be just bombarding you left and right. We're reloading the clip. Next up. So we're specifically going to be talking about like Bulls Banter podcast with a fellow Chicagoan, a fellow basketball fanatic. We're going to be go ahead and talking about what the Bulls did this free agency, predictions for the future, what they did. Might touch up on some of the free agencies. On October 24th, which is AKA Kobe Day, I will be dropping What If Kobe podcast. What if Kobe careers? The 8 big what if moments of Kobe's career, which I'm very excited for. I'm also going to be having running it back with the WWE draft, this bringing back Mr. Matt Ritter and Katie Bay. We're going to be taking control of the 3 brands, and we're going to be doing our own like fantasy draft. We may try to go ahead and go live on YouTube for that one. I'll try to get it going. If not, then stay tuned for that one. We're going to try to like live stream that one, get some live commentary for that as well. But I'm also having an in memoriam for NXT for how we knew it, because we're just going to sit back and reminisce about the good old days of NXT and how those are probably long and gone. So we will be having an in memoriam for NXT. So yeah, so have a lot of content coming out that you should go ahead and check out on my Instagram or on my Twitter. I have the links on there. Linktree/SES Vince is where you can find all the contact. We're available just about everywhere. And again, I can't plug this podcast enough because I genuinely enjoyed it. We did a Rusters Ass Pokemon Gym Leaders podcast with Matt Ritter, and it was fantastic. Very fun episode, and just more and more good stuff coming along the way. But last thing I want to plug is the Instagram at Smackin Raw Pod. Go ahead and check it out. I've been posting a little bit more frequently. The last post actually got the most likes that we've had in a while. I've seen the follows spiking up, and to get some people enticed, I'm going to try to do an Instagram live on the channel, doing some predictions for SummerSlam and NXT. May or may not have some guests on that. So stay tuned for that. If you want to, I encourage you guys to go ahead and give it a follow.
Absolutely. And along with that, there's a Twitter, which is at Smackin Raw Pod as well. Trying to get the numbers up there as well, because you guys are all following me over at Matt Ritter. There's that MATTRIDDER. Got a little over 5K. We broke 5K, and I do appreciate that, but I really want to move everyone over to the Smackin' and Raw pod. Use that as our main place to do the polls, spit and swallow. Use that for the discussions. Get everyone over there. So if you can, please do that. Also, you guys can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/Smackin' Also, Creation World, everything at The Creation World. That's at TheCreatia World, Twitter and Instagram, and facebook.com/Creation World on Facebook. That is the umbrella under which the Smackin' Raw podcast exists. And if you are a fan of the DC Universe, Stargirl just kicked back up. So Mara and Travis are still going strong over there at facebook.com/Superflash Hero of Tomorrow, and their podcast is available everywhere, as well as on Pornhub and on YouTube, where you guys can also find this, because we are the #1 wrestling podcast
#1
on Pornhub.
That's right.
I wasn't sure if we were signing off or not. Later, y'all. Oh man.
What's the ranking? What's the ranking at?
104, we're down. But our last few
Uh-oh.
videos actually did pretty good. I'm going to do it again just in case Travis doesn't catch that as a sign off, but I'm actually looking right now. We're at 104, 157. So we fell out, but we are at 9.9 thousand views. So we're almost at 10,000 views on Pornhub. And then the last video had 73 views, 67. Katie and I got 104, 93 with Joey. Yeah, so I mean we're getting the views. Just need more. We got a few low ones in there, like 17 or 18. So for Wreak Havoc and SES Vince, I am the Warden Matt Ritter. We are Smackin' Raw, and we are the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub.
Later, y'all.
See you.